Hello, everybody. My name is Nkosi, and this is the Two Sides of a Coin podcast. Joining me on the podcast is my co-host, John. You want to say hi, John?
Hey everybody.
All right, so we have a packed episode for you. John's going to talk about some food while we also cover some things that we missed, like how there is a new Bob in town at Disney, and a whole bunch of trailers dropped in the last week or so. So we're going to get to all of that. But before we get to the Battle of the Bobs, or the lack of battle with the Bobs, John, tell us about what we're going to eat this week.
So this week we are eating Addeo's. Addio's is a pizzeria slash Italian restaurant located in the Bronx on Morris Park Avenue and Home Ave. I tell you, it was amazing, man. When I first walked into the restaurant, I thought like, wow, limited seating pizzeria. Okay. But then there's a ramp. Where does the ramp go to? So as I walk up to the ramp, I'm like, oh shoot, it's like a whole nother restaurant behind where the pizzeria is. And I was like, wow. It kind of reminded me a little bit of a restaurant on Third Avenue, but that Italian restaurant's not there anymore. And I tell you, when I say this food is on point, this food is 100% on point. I mean, I had the fettuccine Alfredo with grilled chicken, and I, I barely finished. I had to take the rest home. I'm like, Kenny, it was beautiful. It was like very well layered. I mean, with the cheese and Parmesan and the sauce, not too soupy, just perfect, right, and rich thickness. I really like Addio's, really do. And the pizza is definitely just like the pasta. Mwah, molto bene. I mean, but yeah, it's definitely a place everyone I feel should definitely check out. Go with families. They do make accommodations for if you want to have like a little celebrated christening. So you want to have like a little small party, they can accommodate you. Definitely just call in uh, like 2 days or a week in advance, and they'll be able to set everything up for your evening at their restaurants. And on that note, I do have a couple of dishes I can suggest. I would definitely suggest their fried calamari and the ravioli. Definitely get the ravioli. Trust me on that. And that's all I had to say for adios.
All right, John. I'll have to definitely check that place out. I do definitely like Italian food.
I mean, and they're very, when I say service there, it's really on point.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, with that being said, we'll jump into some of the main things that have happened recently. So,
Yes.
there's been a lot going on in the state of Florida in the past couple of months.
Yep.
Most of that's been political, some of it's been, hurricane related. But I
Yes.
think probably the biggest one that the entire world found out was that Disney, which is a very big company, I mean, it's not Apple big, but it's incredibly
No.
big.
Yes.
Disney did a very, very sneaky thing about a week or two ago, and that is on Sunday night. I believe it was November 20th. Let me go back and just confirm that.
I think it's November 20th. Yeah.
Yeah, it was November 20th.
November
Disney
20th.
announced that their current CEO, Bob Chapek, who, remind you, this guy had just gotten a new contract renewed for 3 more years, the CEO of Disney, that, hey, this guy, Bob Chapek, the guy we say we trust, he's gone. And the previous CEO, the guy that was there before Bob Chapek, the guy who purchased Star Wars, the guy who purchased Marvel, the guy who purchased Fox, he's coming back in the news of Bob Iger. Now, this was received very, very well by everybody. But it's always interesting to see when you see these big changes as to why they happened. And not only why they happened, but also just how somebody could mess up their bag so utterly that they could get replaced on a Sunday. And not like replaced where it's like in the future we're going to go with Bob Iger. This happened the same day. When Chapek was gone, Iger came in that same day. And while a lot of us work in certain jobs and stuff like that, so we may have seen that happen in real life, that happening at the executive level, happening at the CEO level, is so outside the norm, it cannot be overstated. So I'm going to talk about a couple of the reasons why Bob Chapek is now on the unemployment line, quote unquote. I mean, this guy's still going to get millions of dollars for leaving, but it's more the shame of how he left rather than, him not having money or anything like that. Nobody feels financially bad for Bob Chapek. It's just more like, how did you fumble the bag so utterly that the mouse kicked you out on a Sunday? So I think the first thing I'm going to start out with is, we do have to bring up COVID. I mean, that's the one that you can't blame Bob Chapek for. And I think everybody understands that hit every single industry. That hit the theme parks, that hit their Disney Plus, that hit everything. Pushed movies back, changed shooting schedules. I mean, everybody got a lot of money lost from COVID. So it's something that happened underneath him, but I would say that's probably one of the few things he's not blamed for.
Right.
It's just you give somebody a mulligan when a worldwide disaster like COVID happens. Nobody can really plan for that.
No.
But the second thing, one thing that did happen under COVID, which I think a lot of people forgot, is the debacle that happened with Scarlet Witch. I mean, not Scarlet Witch, but Black Widow. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, Black Widow was originally going to come out in theaters, but then Black Widow was put on Disney Plus, due to COVID. But that's not the issue. The issue is that Scarlett Johansson was supposed to make money on the movie on the back end from the studio, from the theaters. And because it came out on Disney Plus, that money did not come in. Or it came in a very, very muted form. So, as you can imagine, Scarlett Johansson was mad and she sued Disney to get that money. And Disney ended up settling for like an undisclosed amount. But it was one of those things where they didn't even talk about it with Scarlett Johansson. They just did it. And they expected her to not say anything. And she rightfully sued them and rightfully got her money. Right? Do you remember that situation, John?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Definitely do. I was shocked about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, wow, Disney did that? That's not good. That is not bueno.
Yeah, so that's one of the big things that Chapek did, which I know rubbed a lot of people in the industry the wrong way. The second thing that Bob Chapek did was he pushed a lot of movies that would have been in theaters, he pushed them onto Disney Plus. And really, it's not just that he pushed the Marvel movies onto Disney Plus. He pushed the movies that were from Pixar on Disney Plus. Now, some of those Pixar movies, well, actually, I would say both Pixar movies were amazing movies. Turning Red, awesome movie. Soul, awesome movie.
Yeah.
Both of those movies were pushed essentially to Disney Plus. And apparently that ticked off a whole bunch of people in Pixar. Because they felt this is going to be the movie that's going to put Pixar back on the map. And instead, they go towards Disney Plus. You know, now I know you love streaming and you love Disney Plus, John. So I know you really didn't care that it was on Disney Plus, right?
No, I didn't really care too much. But I mean, it was, that was a good turning. Oh man, that was a good movie. I actually have the Funko Pop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I understand where regular people not in the industry, or just the casual fan are just looking at it and saying, yeah, they came out on Disney Plus. So what? It doesn't really matter. The problem is that when it comes to movies making money, you have to answer the question of how does Turning Red, how does Soul make money on Disney Plus? The problem is it doesn't. And also, let's be real here, like movies in the theaters get prestige and stuff that movies on streaming services simply don't. I mean, we've seen it several times where there are streaming shows or streaming movies that don't necessarily get the kind of praise that they deserve simply because they're not on mainstream TV or aren't in the studios, aren't in the movie theaters. Really, it's more about the prestige and all of that in regards to how things are done. So I would say really the third thing that really killed Bob Chapek is in regards to the parks. Now, he ticked off a lot of people on the park side.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Disney park person, but that is its own subculture. That is its own genre. Disney adults are a real thing for those who don't know. People who go to Disney like every year or every other year, or they go multiple times in a year. This is a real thing that comes up a lot. So when you're talking about, these Disney adults, these people that come to the park that love just the whole Disney ambiance, Disney atmosphere, you tick them off, you're really going to be in a bad time. So,
yeah.
What are you a Disney adult, John?
Oh no, I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'm slowly working on it.
All right. So, in regards to that, Bob Chapek ticked a lot of them off. He did layoffs. When they came out in defiance of the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida, he did the beautiful thing where he ticked off both sides of the argument, because at first when they came out with it, he didn't say anything, which ticked off the people who wanted him to say something. Then, when he finally said something, he ticked off the people who didn't want him to say anything. I mean, it's hard when you're catching L's from so many different places. But that's what Bob Chapek was doing, apparently. Bob Chapek caught so many L's from so many different places that they wanted the guy that chose him to be the successor to come back and take over the company again. Which to me that's wild. That's so wild. So John, what's your opinion on it?
I mean, I really have no opinion. to be honest. Because I mean, damn, to mess up that many times and like not to get the picture, like I need to change something up. I can't really say much on that.
All right. So I would say that's mostly the story of Bob Chapek and everything that he went through, and he's going to be a very lonely multimillionaire without a company. Well, now with Bob Iger being back, I wonder what he's going to do, but it's going to be interesting to see how he reshapes and makes Disney more profitable in the short time that he's going to be there, because he only has like a 3-year contract. But that's really going to be interesting. So another thing that happened over the past couple weeks is the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Yeah,
It
very
was
interesting.
it was very, very interesting. So John, I'm going to give you a challenge here.
Okay, all right, I'm
I
ready.
want you to give a review of the movie without actually talking about scenes from the movie that you liked.
Oh,
Let's see if you can actually give an actual review instead of just talking about scenes
okay,
from the
all right,
Guardians of the Galaxy movie that you from the holiday special that you like. So, John, I'm going to give you the floor. Let's see how
all
well you
right.
do in regards to that.
Okay, I think I can go. All right, so I watched this movie and I gotta say it came off to me at first, gave me that like Hallmark, like it was coming off a little too Hallmarky at first, kind of Christmas special. But then I continued to watch a little more, and as the story went on, as the story unfolded, I was like, huh, I gotta say this movie was good. I wasn't disappointed. It was like the perfect. It was like one of many great Christmas specials. And if shoot, I wish it was one of those live. I actually wished it was one of those live type of Christmas specials because man, the theatrics that they put into this movie just perfect, literally perfect. And I stayed in my seat. I stayed focused. I didn't even I didn't even I didn't even think of what possibly could happen next because I was laughing so hard at what was happening at that moment. So yes, honestly, Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas Special is a movie to definitely watch with family, even during Christmas. And I would say, shoot, New Year's too.
All right. I know how hard that was for you, John, because
Oh goodness.
you just want to talk about what you love about it, but you need to remember not everybody's seen it yet, so you can't just ruin the movies for everybody.
Oh man.
You know. So let's just go into my review for
Ouch.
Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special. Now, I did like it. I thought it was very whimsical.
Right.
I thought it definitely had its share of Christmas joy. I will say, not to do any spoilers or anything like that, it mostly focuses on two of the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy that we get the least amount of time with. The two members that are more comic relief than anything. So it's going to focus on, as the trailer shows, on Drax and on Mantis. You're going to find out some things about Mantis in the very early beginnings of the holiday special. Also, you're going to find really, really interesting things about, the world in the cosmic sense. There's some interesting tidbits that are dropped very early on in the holiday special.
Yep.
And this special is really all about bringing back Christmas cheer to Star-Lord, Peter Quill, And they're doing that, as they showed in the trailer, by we are going to bring his favorite hero here, Kevin Bacon.
Mm-hmm.
And, I will say, Kevin Bacon, he's playing Kevin Bacon in this world.
Kevin Bacon.
So it's really fun to see him in this way. I thought he was great in the movie. They do a lot of interesting things with Kevin Bacon.
Yes,
And I think I know why they were able to do those interesting things with Kevin Bacon. And I think the only reason they were able to get away with so much about Kevin Bacon is because there is a band in the very beginning of the movie that shows up later on. This isn't a spoiler. This happens in the first 2 minutes, so you're going to see them. But an important thing to note, and John, you might not know this, the band that you see in that movie, that is actually Kevin Bacon's band.
Holy.
So yeah, there's a lot of things about actors who have bands and stuff like that. I think the only reason they were able to get away with so much is because they are like, hey, Kevin Bacon, we're going to do all this stuff to you. However, we're also going to let you play with your band in the actual holiday special after we pay you money and everything like that. Because, yeah, in this movie, there are some really funny things that are said at the expense of Kevin Bacon.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Bacon isn't laughing along with it. He's reacting like a regular person in this scenario, which is with your very imagined results as to what's going on. I'll also say that this is the first time we've heard Cosmo. They show that in the trailers as well. So this will be the first time you hear Cosmo. And if you don't know who Cosmo is he's a Marvel character. His whole thing is he was a Russian dog that was shot into space by the Soviets, and somewhere along the line he gained psychic abilities. So yeah, that's Cosmo, the Russian space dog, who is also a very powerful psychic. And Cosmo shows up. I thought they had some really funny scenes with them. And, the only person you don't see in this movie is, as expected, you don't see Gamora. And really, I think we all know that's going to be addressed in the next Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So if you had any hopes for hey, we might see Gamora in the holiday special, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to see it. I don't care if that's a spoiler or not. You're just not. Nobody expected it to happen. I will say the only downside I have for this holiday special, and I think it's not really a downside, because I think they're just going to treat this as its own self-contained thing, is it just me, or is Drax get dumber and dumber and dumber?
I'm noticing that
every single time you see him.
Every single time.
And I mean, here's the thing. He wasn't really, he was a straight man in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Right. He was full on comic relief in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yep.
And in this holiday special, he goes straight to, not only comic relief, he's just you are an idiot. You are an absolute idiot at times.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're going to have that for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I hope they pull that back a little bit. Because I like Drax, that he is a very literal character. So you can find very funny moments. And yes, he does some funny things. But Drax at the same time is also a guy who carries around a lot of pain with him. And I'm not sure they're going to do that. I hope they do. I really do. But that was like the smallest thing, but I was able to just, take that with a grain of salt because at the end, really at the end, this
Hmm.
is a holiday special. And I
Yes,
thought
it is.
about all of the real big, you know, differences and everything like that, which is you treat the holiday special differently. And if I give it that grace, I say this movie is amazing. If I don't, it's still really, really good, and I would highly suggest you watch it.
Hmm.
I think even if you don't like the Guardians, and which is a very small group, I think you're really gonna like this special because it definitely had some really laugh out loud, funny moments. Now,
Oh yeah.
John, I know that it's killing you to not talk about those moments, so I'll just let you off the hook for the next couple minutes, so that way you can just spoil the entire movie. So spoilers
Nope.
for this. No, no, John, go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
I know you really want to. Go
but
ahead.
you sure?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Wait, this you 100%. No, no, no strings attached.
No, no strings attached. You can go ahead and you can spoil all the parts that you wanted to talk about. Everybody's been warned.
Okay. So yeah, I am not good. My most favorite part is going was watching this Christmas show. That was my favorite part. Just watching the whole thing in general. I mean, the whole thing. I mean, I laughed, I cried, I got very emotional, like very emotional. You know, shedded a couple of tears. It's gonna happen. You're gonna shed it. If you don't shed a tear, then yeah, you don't shed a tear. But definitely, definitely, definitely.
All right. Yeah, and I absolutely agree. I think you guys really should watch this movie. So, for our next topic, these are all going to be trailers for the most part. So, these are not going to be things that happened, you know, in terms of full movies, but we did see them, and obviously, we're going to talk about them a little bit more in depth because you've seen as much as we have. So, the first one I want to talk about is the Transformers trailer. The
Yes,
new trailer for the new Transformers Beast Wars.
yes.
And yeah, I feel like you have a lot you want to talk about with that trailer, John.
Oh yes, because we finally get the meeting of the primes, Optimus Prime and um darn it, Beast Mode Optimus Prime and the other and actual Optimus Prime actually finally meet. Like descendants of the primes meet up and like say like you have no idea, but we have a there's a lot of war going on, and I'm like yes. Oh man, I have been like ever since the franchise started. That is what I've been waiting for. I've been dying to see the Beast Wars. Literally, I thought they did it a little bit. They touched on a little bit in the last one, but come to find out I mean, they didn't really hit the nail on the head like I wanted or like I expected. But this time, yes, I mean, and then we're gonna see with the Omicron. Hopefully, I'm hoping this leads more into. They talk more into the Omicron in this one, because man, I want to see that too. Like that be the next after this one, Omicron. Oh yes,
So, John,
man.
I know you're talking a lot about Transformers lore. What exactly is the Omicron? For somebody
So
who's never seen, like, what is the Omicron?
Omicron is a transformer the size of a planet. Like he literally um has a Omicron's main goal. Well, pretty much main goal was to destroy Cybertron. and this villain being Omicron being the villain was the one villain that actually got Autobots and Decepticons working together to destroy. Like, wow. I mean, I'm totally looking at it because that fight right there, a lot of primes came to the table. I mean, Megatron's lineage did a little bit okay, but they weren't really, shining like the primes were. The primes were shining, baby. Yes. So
Okay.
yeah,
So so Omicron, you're saying, is a transformer the size of a planet?
yep.
All right. Okay. I mean, to be honest, I always thought that that was Unicron, but I could easily be wrong there. I'm not really big on, the whole Transformers lore.
Hmm.
So, all right. Um, with me, when I saw it, it just brought back to me when I was a kid and I would watch a little show, a little known show called Transformers Beast Wars. And this was a show that was a fully 3D show, like the 3D show reboot. And it had the Transformers land in the time of the dinosaurs. So they scanned everybody, and instead of transforming into cars, they transformed into animals.
Yep.
So that to me was Beast Wars.
Yes.
And I loved it. It was on for a couple seasons. It was really ahead of its time in terms of the 3D animation that it did. So you watched Beast Wars?
Oh, I watched Beast Wars all the way through till it to the last one.
All right. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, with Beast Wars, I loved it. I was sad when it went. So seeing, this Transformer look like a gorilla, I was like, oh, so that is obviously a Beast Wars reference.
Hmm.
I know that there was a TikToker whose name is Straw Hat Goofy. He compared it to Wild Force Power Rangers,
Oh shoot! Why?
and a lot of people just jumped on him because they were like, yeah, Wild Force Power Rangers came out years after Beast Wars, and why didn't you watch
Hmm.
Beast Wars? It was just
Right.
I thought it was just a funny back and forth. So,
Yeah.
hey, whichever one you need to reference it is perfectly good in my book. Honestly,
Hmm.
I'm just glad that we're going to get the full potential of a fraction of the Transformers universe that I know a lot of people have close to their heart, and
Hmm.
it looks like we're actually gonna get it.
Yes.
This one you have Anthony Ramos as the main lead, as the main human lead.
Hmm.
And honestly, I gotta say it. It's not to be that guy or anything like that. He would not be in this movie if In the Heights did better. He just wouldn't. Let's call a spade a spade.
Oh,
He wouldn't be in this movie if In the Heights did better.
wow. You know what? The fact, being that you said that, and I actually met the man.
It's
That's not right, man. No, 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 nah.
I'm not saying
I
it's
may not be
right.
able to back it up, but nah, man, I can't,
Do,
I can't, I
let,
can't. Nope,
let
I
me let
can't
me ask
stand
you
with you on
this.
that
Let
one.
me ask you this.
Okay.
If In the Heights did was much bigger when it came out, do you think Anthony Ramos would be in a Transformers movie? Or would he be in another vehicle that was bigger?
I I could see him being in a Transformer movie, but then again, ooh,
Let's be honest
I
here. let's
All
let
right, all right.
like
Honestly, I would see him. I would probably see him in a Fast and the Furious.
he could have been in Fast and the Furious. That would have been a step. Fast and the Furious is over Transformers. We can both agree on that. Like,
Mm,
yes,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, we
Fast
can
and
agree.
Furious is bigger than Transformers.
Yeah.
So I don't have any hate for him. It's
No.
simply fact that, I think this movie will do well. I think a lot of people will have nostalgia for Beast Wars. I
Mm-hmm.
hope they got a better script. They still have Michael Bay
Oh yeah.
explosioning it up. I actually respect Michael Bay.
Oh
Any
yeah.
person that just says, F it, we are getting explosions, we're doing more explosions, we're going to do explosions on top of explosions,
Let's
and you're
put an
going to like it.
explosion in that one.
Yeah, you're gonna sit there and you're gonna like it.
Mm-hmm.
Explosion it up. That's all Michael Bay
Yeah.
does, and you know what? He
Yeah.
does it well. I'm
Very
not gonna
well.
lie, he does it well. So
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna get that. We're gonna get the humanoid, more Transformers. I could already see with one of the Transformers that there's gonna be a lot of online chatter about how hot the Transformer is.
Oh,
The
God.
motorcycle one. Let's come
Oh,
on.
oh, yeah, yeah, whoa, yeah. Nope, nope, not gonna happen. But nope. Mm-mm.
That's not gonna happen.
No, I'm not saying it's not gonna happen, but you know what usually happens when we talk about
Ex-
stuff like
egg.
that.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just gonna leave it there.
Yes, let's leave it there.
Like, we're not talking about us, but we
Nope.
know the internet well enough to know this is
Yes.
going to happen. Nothing can
Really.
stop it.
Nope.
After that, I'm gonna definitely enjoy the movie. It's already on my must see list,
Yeah.
and
Oh wait. I do. Wait. Hold up. Even though that maybe they may talk about the sexy robot, they can do a comparison between like the female role versus the how the robot looks. They could do that instead.
what female role? What are you talking about?
No, no, like you know how every Transformers has like a hot female role.
Yeah,
Yeah, they could do a comparison between those two.
please don't. Nobody wants that. I don't want it. That's all I know. And I barely want the talks of the hot robot that I'm gonna get. So, you know, let's let's switch gears from Transformers, pun intended. Let's switch
Yeah.
gears to a movie that this trailer recently came out, and I mean in the last day or two this trailer came out, about an old man and how we cannot give him up. Because I thought his last movie showed everybody, hey, this might not be the movie that we want to see. However, we are all excited to see it anyways, and that is Indiana
Indiana
Jones,
Jones.
the new Indiana
Yeah.
Jones movie. So John, I know you really like Indiana Jones, right?
Oh yeah, who doesn't?
I mean,
I mean,
Indiana Jones is fine. I have a story
wait,
with
what?
Indiana Jones. I have a story with Indiana Jones. So with Indiana Jones, my niece and nephew, we all went to watch a movie, and I thought, hey, what's a movie we could watch? Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So I popped that movie in. Now, obviously, I'm not going to say my niece and nephew's names. My niece and nephew, they're young, obviously. So they're watching the movie with me, and the things they're seeing, they're asking me questions that make me feel really old. And when I say
Mhm.
really old, I mean they looked at a plane that Indiana Jones was on. They were like, "What's that?" And I was like, "That's a plane." They were like, "It doesn't have engines?" And I was like, "Yes, it doesn't have engines, Planes didn't used to have engines. This is a thing. Oh yeah, that's a telegraph. This wouldn't necessarily be okay. Oh, what about those trains with the lion in it? That doesn't seem like it's a safe thing. You're right. It wasn't a safe thing.
No.
I'm glad you have that I'm glad you have that sympathy for animals.
Yeah.
And they were just like, you can just walk up to the plane like that? Yeah. Yeah, because you've only flown into terminals. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And then when they saw a tank, they were like, that's a tank? No tank I've ever seen looks like that. And I was like, yeah, you're 100% right.
100% right.
This is what a tank used to look like during that time. And you've only seen the tank as it looks like now. This makes perfect sense. This makes perfect sense. Nothing they said was wrong. It just made me feel old. It just made me feel very old.
Feel like you was around when we was. Oh man, no, I won't even mention it.
I mean, the fact that they're like, oh, propeller on planes. Yeah, I was like, yes, obviously I've seen that, and I was like, yeah, but you wouldn't have seen that. Yeah, this makes me feel old. This makes me feel real old. You know, they were like smoking in the hotel room. That's not something you're supposed to do. And I was like, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. When they saw a Zeppelin, they were like, I've never seen that in my life. And I was just like, yeah, that's a Zeppelin. When would they have seen a Zeppelin, John?
No, I'm not just saying when they would, but I was just like, wow.
Like I said, these are all things that made me feel old. All things that make me feel old. You know, but talk about your love of Indiana Jones real quick.
No, my love for it, I'm just looking forward to the whole story, how it's going to be portrayed. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So this new one, it's going to be Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And I think one of the big things is you see in the trailer, they're going to use age reduction software on Harrison Ford. Now, I hope what they do is they actually just put somebody else in that place as the young Indiana Jones.
Right.
And the reason why is because when they did that to Sam Jackson in Captain Marvel, you know, did the age reduction software on him.
Yeah.
He may have looked young. He ran old.
Yeah, definitely.
He ran old. So unless he's taking tips from Tom Cruise on how to run like you're a 25-year-old, he's still gonna run old.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do would be to put it on a young, fit actor. Have them do all the action scenes when he's young, Indiana Jones, and they'll just digitally replace the guy's face.
Yeah.
I think that works better. And there's one thing that does have me feeling really, really confident about this movie. Do you know what that is?
Hold on. Let me think. They're tying up this movie could possibly tie up the mysteries from all the other Indiana Joneses?
Nope, not even that.
Darn it.
It's the director that has me hopeful for this movie.
Really?
The reason why is because the director is James Mangold. Now, you've seen James Mangold movies. You don't know they're James Mangold movies. But I'm going to tell you 3 movies and realize all 3 of these movies were directed by James Mangold. 2 of them were directed and written by James Mangold. So you ready to hear them?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay. So here are the 3 movies that James Mangold has directed that I know you know these movies and you've seen these movies and you love these movies. Even the first one that I mentioned, you'll be like, oh yeah, this is why I love this. But James Mangold is the director of 310 to Yuma. If you remember 310 to Yuma, that was the Russell Crowe movie,
Yeah.
the Western, where it's like the guy had to take the criminal on the 310 train to Yuma.
Mm-hmm.
He directed that. He also directed The Wolverine.
Oh yeah.
He directed The Wolverine. He also directed and wrote Logan. So this is why I'm cautiously optimistic for this movie, because the person that wrote this movie knows action. He knows how to give good stories, and I hope that he can give a good story with this. Also, he did write, I believe, Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh.
So as you see, this guy has, these are all very different movies. So he can do the smaller movie, he can do the big budget action movie, he can do the really introspective story. He can do one where there's a little bit of special effects and it's mostly about like drive and all that stuff. Like James Mangold can do some things. And I'm excited to see what he can do with these movies. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, with this movie in particular. So, yeah, that's honestly that's the one reason I'm excited for this movie, because Kingdom of the Crystal Skull left a really bad taste in my mouth. And if they do another thing where they have like Phoebe Waller-Bridge swinging through the jungle on vines with a whole bunch of monkeys, I'm literally just gonna leave and just say done. I'm done with it.
Right.
So, but yeah, what do you think about that, John?
No, I'm just really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. That's all I can say. I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
All right. And the last thing that came out was the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, the new one for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Right.
And I liked where the direction that the trailer went in. I think we all know that this story is going to be focused a whole lot more on Rocket,
Yeah.
right? I think we're going to get a real look into his backstory. Also, the villain I've heard is going to be the high evolutionary.
Yeah.
So that looks like it's going to be fun. Uh,
Most
but
definitely.
but John, you got anything you want to talk about in regards to the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer?
Well, one thing I'm looking forward to them talking about is Rocket's family.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking forward to watching. Oh, and them showing one of I can't, I don't want to butcher his name. Hopefully I'm saying it right. Ryan.
The what? You broke up there.
Remember in Guardians of the Gap, like in the last part of after the credits in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2,
Yes.
they were surrounded by this everyone. They were at the place where they stole the batteries from.
You talking about Adam Warlock?
Yes.
Yeah, you did see him in the movie, and I think he is going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. it's going to be interesting because that actor was actually the little kid or one of the younger kids in the movie Meet the Millers, that Jennifer
Yes.
Aniston comedy. And apparently he looks super jacked, a la regular Marvel deeds. So it's going to be super interesting to see how he pulls all that off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so are you a really big Adam Warlock fan?
Somewhat. It's been a while since I, heard anything. I was at a point. I was like, did everyone just forget about Adam Warlock? Like, I mean, come on, dude has a very interesting backstory.
All right. Well, I think that's the last thing we wanted to talk about. So, John, tell people where to find you.
So you can find me at a local restaurant, possibly either A, cheating on my diet, or B, being a glutton, which I have not been doing for another good while now. Been behaving. But you can also find me on Instagram, Fat Man Loves Anime NYC21. Feel free to message me.
As I normally say with me, if you want to find me personally, please don't. Uh, if you want to reach out to the podcast, though, you can find us. You can email us at two sides podcast at gmail.com. That's TWOSIDEZ podcast at gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram at two sides pod. And you can find us also on Twitter under that same name. You can find the podcast on Podbean, and also you can find us on Spotify. So, guys, I really thank you for going over with us, listening to us
Hmm.
ramble about trailers and everything like that. And and we'll talk to you later.
Yes. Take care.